makeup, the makeup. I just wanna see who you are. Time flies, so down the goodbyes. We'll spend the night staring up at the stars. See, I was told long ago, me and you was gonna go far. And if so, please let me know, 'cause you know I couldn't do you no harm.
Welcome to the Lisa Logic podcast. I am beyond excited to have my very first podcast and to start off my season of Lisa Logic podcast. I have in the studio with me today a very close friend of mine through the many years and many disastrous years of my life, but hopefully now we're on a nice, cool, calm and collected scale. Jude, Deery. We have so much coming up on the podcast to go through. A lot of chaos, crack, and everything else that you should hopefully enjoy. I have probably waited a little bit too long on starting the podcast, but there was a reason. I thought there was a reason. It's not really a reason. I thought I wasn't ready for it, and to be honest, I held off about 3 years on making the podcast because I wasn't ready. And then I thought, then there's never really a time that you are going to be ready for these things. And the main thing I was holding back on was life. I felt like life was stopping me from starting off the podcast, and it really wasn't. It was actually me. So when we took that aside, all I was worried about then was what would people think. And you know what? It doesn't really matter what people think because everybody's going to have an opinion anyway. And that's what this podcast is all about. So it is free-flowing opinions on every topic possibly going, and it's completely unfiltered. So everything I say and whatever anybody else says is all their own opinions. So if anybody has a problem with it, you can send me a wee email or give out on a blast somewhere. So starting off my show today, I have Jude Deery. Welcome to the show.
Hello,
Jude
Lisa.
Deery.
Hello, how are you?
You might recognise Jude from being a TikTok sensation superstar. I've known him for years, as I was saying them before we started recording. Some people know you for maybe one season of your life, as I like to say, or some people know you for all seasons. I think Jude has been one person who's been in and out of my life since I was about 16.
16 now, 16, 17.
16, 17, and do you know what? I think we've been through quite a lot together. But I wanted to start the podcast off with somebody that knew me through all the stages, because sometimes people think they know Lisa, and they don't. Sometimes people know me from maybe my 20s, and I'm completely different now to what I was back then. So I have somebody on the show that has known me through all the stages. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything. But first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about Jude. Jude, tell me how you started off in being a little TikTok, not even little, a big TikTok sensation.
Well, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I posted a video just about partying. You know, whenever you're out and you're at a house party or whatever, and you're chatting about, oh, the gear has my head wrecked, the drugs has my head wrecked. And then somebody's passing you a plate, and you're down and you're taking that, you know, and you're saying to your man, how long am I not there? You know, it's crazy. Like, I just tell these stories, you know, and people can relate to them. People that kind of love that life, they relate to it. But it also gives people a laugh.
Oh, it does.
You know, it gives people a laugh, but it's kind of bringing more awareness as well around drugs and how rampant it is in society at the minute, especially amongst younger ones, you know. So, but it's just kind of snowballed from there.
Because a lot of your stuff and a lot of your stories, I was like, that couldn't happen. Like, I remember whenever we were growing up, obviously, it was around, like, but it was like what you would class as like the minimal, like the head shop. Well, what we thought head shop drugs weren't as big a thing as what, like, say, everybody doing like coke now all the time and like everything else. So, how did you, I suppose, like, start off? Like, where did you start? Like, for people that don't know you.
Well, as you were saying, we know each other a long time, Lisa. So, and that house
I
in
told
Deery,
him not to tell too many stories.
that house in Deery, like, you know, that would have seen some sights.
That
Like,
house in
pretty
there.
much every weekend. I mean, we used to come down on a Wednesday, and you had sugar on a Wednesday, where you had a pound shots,
That's right.
and like, sure, you would have seen the kind of states I was in. But
That was mainly more alcohol back then, though. Like, your
well,
states
if
then.
that's what you think,
I thought it was
you're
alcohol back then.
sadly
no.
mistaken. You see, that was around about the time as well, the head shop.
I remember the head shop. The head shop, you could get them in Letterkenny. I remember. Was
but
it
there
the
was
back?
there was one in Balbuffet too. There was one in Balbuffet.
aye.
They had all different kinds of herbal drugs. So That's
But do you remember it wasn't supposed to be as big a deal? Do you remember it was kind of marketed as
because it's legal. Like,
it's
marketed
legal.
as
It's
legal
legal
but
highs.
legal
So
highs.
whenever you were taking them, when everybody else was taking them, it felt like, well, we knew were taking them, but it wasn't as. Oh, I remember giving out sometimes, but it wasn't as big a deal as if you had a rocked up with a thing of coke. I don't. We probably all lost their lives, but because it was legal highs, it wasn't as big a thing back then, I suppose.
But I think that falling into that way of thinking, you see, it kind of
That's
spawned.
how it started.
It spawned the whole. Well, I was at that before. I think I was like 15 or 16 whenever I first took my first drug, which
When
was.
you were in the take.
Well, no, I had left. I had left at
that's
that
right,
stage. I didn't finish school. I didn't do my leaving cert. But I started off whenever I was 16. It was ease, and so you're right in at the deep end, and you just kind of become dependent on them. Then it was like every weekend you're at it. I remember me and a couple of the boys, like, we used to say, we'll just have a few beers a night, no drugs. But once you have about 3 or 4, then like
And that
all
was when you
sense
were
goes out the
15,
window.
16.
About 15 or 16 now. So then, when the head shop opened, then like it's easy access. Like you can have whatever the fuck you want. Like, do you know what I mean?
And see, money wise to keep up this lifestyle, like,
Oh, the
was
dole.
it, what did that cover?
The
Like,
dole,
was it easier back
I
then?
wasn't working. No, like I was a Roman artist. I was roaming the streets and drawing the dole, Lisa. You know what I mean?
Roman artist.
So, but that's what it was. I mean, like we used to do it on a Wednesday millionaires, they used to call us. So we'd go over, get the dole, and then the sex shop or the head shop, sorry,
That's right.
was right beside
That
the
was.
social welfare.
That's right.
Aye.
The two,
So there used to be a queue of us. There
That's
used to be a
right.
queue of us just waiting for the head shop to open and go on, and then we'd go up to my flat then, and you wouldn't see us for a few days, like. So that's the way it was. But at the time, we loved it. I'm not going to lie to you, like we loved it. But obviously, as time goes on, and the more you're doing it, like you're just destroying your mental health, like, and especially if you have underlying mental health problems anyway, like maybe severe anxiety or other things, you're just making it a lot worse. Do you know what I mean?
See, I remember watching a video that you had up on TikTok, and I remember kind of the thing. Whatever you were talking about. Now I do watch your videos religiously, but whatever you were talking about, you said that whenever there was a couple of stages of a night out on stuff. So you basically had the start off of the night was everybody was loving life. Everything was going great. Then it went to a stage then of kind of you're in the feeling grateful or the nostalgia era of being like, oh, do you remember when we used to sort of so grateful for having you all and all this kind of thing. And then you got to the stage then of
you can't look at
couldn't look at
anybody.
people. And then you were like, you're panicking then about what did you say, what maybe messages you sent out, who did you ring, and all this kind of thing. So you were dealing with that from quite a young age.
Yeah.
You may say.
Yeah. I think the reason I started or started taking drugs or whatever is because I did kind of experience this anxiety. It kind of kicked in maybe around 17 or 18, and I couldn't describe it. I didn't know what it was. You know, I just found myself getting a bit awkward around people that I grew up with and, you know, had known all my life. So then whenever you're out and there's drugs there, you feel you need to take it maybe, and it might make you fit in a bit better or whatever, you know. But then if you enjoy it, then it becomes addictive.
Like, see, whenever you were out with that, like, what was better, the alcohol or the drugs, or the two of them together? Like, did it?
Well, it would have started off with alcohol, obviously, but the higher the drugs, like, it's pretty powerful. But as it goes on, like, the more you're doing it, like, the more you need, the more tolerance you build up, you know, and you're destroying your mental health. And anybody that's been through that, like, they know what I'm talking about. But that's how it all started with me. It was kind of because of the anxiety. I would have started in these things, and maybe you felt like you got on with people a bit better, but then you become dependent on it, and you're at it every weekend, and that's where the problem is then. You know, it just kind of gets worse.
You know what's funny? Like, I remember, like, our conversations after nights out. But I suppose I didn't think, like, I knew you had, like, been doing it, but our conversation, because you're so intelligent. Like, that's what I was.
Thank you, Lisa.
He's so intelligent. Like, he's probably, I remember saying to you, like, Jude might be a TikTok agony uncle now to people, and people do go and look at your stuff whenever, and I know that because you say that too. Did you get so many messages of people?
I do get a lot of
saying
messages from people and just asking for advice on different things. You see, because it's relatable. As I said, it's relatable. Like, it's real
Well,
life.
you make it. You know what I enjoy about it. You've been through so much, but you make it funny, but you make it so people think and are aware of. Oh my God, did this actually happen? And why am I going through this? Why am
Well,
I
that's what I like to
doing
do.
this?
I like to use humour, like, because I like to laugh myself, and I like, to maybe make other people
Well,
laugh.
gee,
So
some
I
of
do.
them situations, Jude, you've been through, like,
They're ridiculous, aren't they?
no harm. Like, can we just tell people about, your holiday? And we're not going to name names here, but remember you were with a girl on holidays. And do you remember she might have told somebody that you had an accident? Do you remember to get...
Which one's
You
this now?
you ran out of money.
Oh,
You ran out of money,
Jesus.
and then you were going to use the phone as collateral, I think, from what the video said.
Yeah. We were going to because we ran out of money, and we were getting this boy to come in and out in the taxi to our hotel. And
Lucky man.
yeah, he was providing the goods, and then we ran out of money. But so obviously you need more stuff, because you can't just stop. So we were going to use an old battered up Samsung as collateral. Says, any chance you take us? And obviously he wouldn't. But then she went in then to the bathroom, then rang her bank, and she says, my partner's had a bad accident here. Any chance I could get an advance on the wages? I was like,
The camera.
But I was lying up in the bed, Lisa, and I was off my head. I could hear her. I says, what the fuck? I says, my mother hears this. She's going to think I've drowned or something. That I'm dead. And I just want more drugs, like, so. But it's awful, like, at the time, obviously mortified, but now, like, that's kind of funny now looking back. You need to see the funny side in these kind of things, like, But outrageous.
Well, do you know
Absolutely
what?
outrageous.
I have to say, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but the most outrageous story I think you've told on your TikTok, right, was what I think you called was, and I've called it H Block 2.0.
Yeah, but there's actually a couple of stories like that on the TikTok. No, that was horrific. That was absolutely
But that
horrific.
just shows, like, I didn't realise how bad.
That was nothing to do with me.
something-
That
No,
was...
I know. No, I know
Jesus.
it wasn't. But I
That was
just
some
didn't
girl had a
realise-
horrible accident.
I didn't realise
Maybe,
how
maybe it wasn't an
bad-
accident.
No, it was another boy.
No, it was. Well, there was a fella involved, but like whatever he
Well,
was
tell a
doing
story.
preempted the fucking disaster. Like
Where did I tell that story?
I don't know if I could fucking say that.
It wasn't
like.
a bad story, was it? It wasn't really that bad.
What? Shit all over the walls. Shit all over the walls. Shit all over the bed. How's that not bad?
We'll just
My
put
God.
that down to the after effects of drugs, and we'll put
Imagine
that down.
fucking walking into that and having to clean that up.
Did you have to clean all that up then?
That wasn't my house. Thank fuck.
That wasn't your house. I
No,
thought
it
it was
wasn't.
your house.
No, it wasn't my house. I was
Oh,
at this
dear
house. We're
God.
at a party, and fucking somebody. I had left the house though, but somebody had sent me the video of it. Then it was just dung everywhere. Like it was
Oh my God, no,
horrible.
that's
So
not nice.
no, I wasn't involved in any way. Now, Jesus, get rid of that notion.
Just to clarify that, he's really sure he's not involved in that. No, I know you're not involved in that.
Go red hair and everything. Like, it's me. Like.
So come here. What's the TikTok kind of fame you may say? Do you get? Is there a point where you think that you have when you're doing videos and stuff, like, do you have like a set schedule where you're like, I need to post, or do you just do it kind of on a one? But like, I feel like
No, I don't, like, because there's times I take long periods off it, like I just kind of lose interest because you have stuff going on yourself too. So there's times I just take periods off it. I don't post anything. Like I think there was about 4 or 5 months I didn't post anything.
So like I
don't
quiet for a while, and I remember thinking because I did actually thinking because I don't use TikTok all the time, but there was a while I was using it all the time, and I'd be like, geez, there's been no videos up from Jude, and I went and I was like, oh, he's like dead. I was like, he's
what?
dead.
He's dead?
Not dead, but like you're having a wee sabbatical or
You
something.
didn't even fucking contact anybody to find out or nothing? Huh?
You're having
He's
a wee
dead.
sabbatical.
Fair enough.
Instead
Good
of
luck.
what are you,
Nice knowing you.
JT Days? It was like JT
JT dead, aye. That was my first video back, you see.
Oh, right,
That was
okay.
my first video back after a few months. Somebody said that JT Dead, more like JT Dead, and I was like, "What do you mean by that?" Is because I haven't been posting, which I thought was actually funny, to be honest. Like I enjoyed some of the comments,
But
There's a lot of
people do
trolls.
mushy, though.
There are a lot of trolls.
And how do you deal with the trolls?
I
Do you respond?
can deal with them, like because it gives you content as well. Because I like
do you not
like
practice?
slagging.
I
You know
did
that.
see actually this poor girl, right? There's this poor girl. I seen one video, and I've known
Poor
him for
way.
years because he used to take a hand out of me all the time. But and I think this poor girl whose second name was Cox, and if she's watching this now, please don't sue me. But you annihilated her about something.
Aye, but
when she said-
that's the girl that said JT Dead more like JT or JT
Alright,
Dead's
and
more
then
like
you said
JT
them
Dead.
to,
Aye,
like-
because she was. She was wearing like a wee tartan skirt and she was hooped over a table. Lass's, what was her name? Her name was Alana. Alana Cox. Lass's Alana Cox, more like a lot of Cox. It's just a wee quip. Do you know what I mean?
It's a sweet
So I enjoy them. So it gives you content, like, do you know what I mean?
So do you just like nitpick the wee ones you want to argue with, or you just be like, is there
It's
some
not that I want to argue with them. Like,
you love an
it's
argument.
just that
You love an
if I
argument.
see something, right, if somebody is stupid enough, right, to give you abuse, but there's something glaring in their profile that you can exploit, you're going to do it, like, because but I feel like I would never be the type to go on somebody's page or video and just give them abuse for no reason. Do you know what I mean? Or give them abuse full stop. I don't do that.
But do you not think people like?
But there's people that do.
I don't get this right. See, sometimes like, and you're going to laugh because you'll be like, who is this girl? See, sometimes and like say like football stuff, right? These people write piles of stuff about players and their performance and stuff like that. And I feel like, go on, you go out and play a match. Like, what age are you? Bald and
that's right. You do all this. You're Derry City now. Like, you're from Drumkeen. You live in Drumkeen. Why don't you do it for Drumkeen United? You're Derry City.
I want to get attacked on my podcast.
Oh,
technically, you should have said I should have been supporting Fun Harps.
But how long are you doing that with Derry City now?
Well, I've been down in Derry City now. I'd say since I dumped my Fun Harps jersey when I was 15.
Don't let Adrian Ferry hear this. This is going out. Adrian Ferry's going to hear.
15. No, see, Fitzy.
Keep that in. Keep it in.
Listening, Fitzy used to give me so much abuse.
Fatsy's good at giving abuse too.
About being for Derry City. But see, what happened was they weren't playing good football, and I actually started to get into football.
You probably watched the Harps game against Derry City, down supporting Harps, and then you thought, fuck this.
I put me right off it because I was like, what kind of level of football is this? Now, this was at this time that we were really young, and you remember we used to go to Fun Harps matches for boys as opposed to going to watch the football. But then I got into the stage of actually watching the football as opposed to like going like to like, you remember you used to go like have.
Are you watching the football though, or are you watching
I was watching football.
You more interested in something else?
Morals of the story, we'll fast forward the story anyway. So my Uncle Johnny would be on the board of directors for Derry City. Mummy and Daddy went somewhere and they left me with him, and then I ended up in Sligo at a match, and then the jersey got dumped and I started going to Derry City matches after that, and then whenever Caitlin was born I took her every Friday, and it's just like
very good. And does she love it as well?
Aye, like see if you mentioned Fun Harps to her, she's just like, I will annihilate you. Like
I used to see, I would see your posts and that and your stories and all. I'm like, where is she going with this Derry City? Where did this Crampsy?
You probably
Cramps from fucking Drumkeen.
You're like, has she lost the plot altogether?
But what do you do? Are you doing like marketing and all for them?
No, I'm not. I just like literally just go to watch.
Right.
I do like, well,
you're
like,
promoting them, like, yeah.
No, I'm not promoting them. Take that off. I don't get paid for promoting them. I would encourage people to support them as opposed to Fun Harps, but shouldn't be saying that.
You're definitely going to take that out.
Shouldn't be saying that.
Jesus.
I do think though with Fun Harps, you get more for Fun Harps. Fun Harps, the season ticket for kids, €5. Like,
I haven't been to
no
the Harps
wonder
game
they
in
have no
long.
money. I remember you at Fun Harps matches.
I used to go to the Harps games whenever I was like 12 or 13, just to go over and see girls.
I see.
Just to get over the town, but I wasn't watching no fucking football at all. Like.
No.
I think it was that one in 2015 whenever they played Limerick. It was a playoff and they won. BJ Banda scored in the last minute.
He's back with them now.
He's back with them now. He's good. He's my young. He's like 26.
This
is a fucking football podcast.
I think we could. I
love me football.
We get Adrian Ferry on next time.
We'll get Big Fez on. He knows his stuff. He's a Leverkusen fan.
But
now.
do you not think we'll just have a wee quick conversation? Do you not think though they have a wild young squad?
Who, Harps?
Aye.
I couldn't tell you the first thing about the place.
There's like 4 people left, like all one go, and like there's like just like we young people. Like,
I know. I do know. They've got a young squad, but they've got a young manager in there now too. Your man
he's
Rogers.
Not that young. He's
Rogers.
Like 50.
Well, Jesus, 50's young enough.
I'm not for like
what age is he?
He's only in his 40s. Our cameraman.
50's young. Like, do you know what I mean?
For a manager.
Aye. For anybody. You don't have to, like a human. 50.
Anyway, little Mr. Start, and we'll get away from this football conversation now before I get excited, kicked across the border, and which could happen after this gets aired. But anyway, so dealing with, like, you must have a little bit of fame out of doing the TikTok. Like, do people like?
Well, was out on Saturday night.
I seen that.
Was out on Saturday night. We're in McCafferty's. And I never go, like, I rarely drink nowadays, to be honest with you, like, you know, because I don't like the way it makes me feel for days after, like, it's just not good.
But do you find it's hard? Don't mind me asking. Do you find it hard to drink alcohol?
At times, maybe, like, if it's a lovely day, you know, because normally whenever the sun's out, the first thing in everybody's mind is beer garden, pints. But once it gets to a certain time, like, say, 9 or 10 o'clock, the urge kind of leaves you, like. But I can do long dry spells without any drink. So we went out Letterkenny on Saturday night, right? And I tortured, absolutely tortured. People, oh, you're the boy at TikTok. Nah. Ah, yeah, right. Oh, what about the Lucasade boy? You know that fucking story about the Lucasade bottle and all. And then I went down to the toilet and was walking up the stairs, and there was this girl, TikTok. No, she had the phone on my face, recording. And I was like, fuck me, like, I just wanted to reach for the phone, like. But that's annoying, you know. I don't like that. I don't like that side of things. Don't like that at all. Like, if I'm out, I want to be left alone. Like,
I know,
do you know?
Not because
unless maybe you're, I don't know, just strangers coming up and shoving their phone in your face is just annoying. Like,
do people, don't mind me asking, because of what you put up on TikTok, like the content you share is normally what you've been through and through drug addiction and alcohol addiction and like everything else. Do people perhaps assume then whenever you're out, would you get people assuming that this is who you are now, or do they actually do you think they followed the story of you make jokes about this?
Well, that's a great question now, because there would be a lot of people that would just assume like that is your life. I actually done a video on that because somebody left a comment saying sad life you lead, and this was a follow on from one of the stories I done. It was that story actually, where the girl was saying that I had an accident, and they said sad life you lead, like, so I just done a response back and I said, like, this isn't an accurate representation of my life at the minute. Like, I tell these stories, like, and I'm just looking back, but I would get a lot of that. But then there are people then, you know, oh, you're doing really well. But you see, the thing is, like, you have your good days and bad days, like everyone. You know, it's people just tend to think, oh, you're doing brilliant now. Like, you know, you don't experience any kind of issues or anything like that. Like, which is not true. Like, everybody has their good days and their bad days. Like, it's just about having self-awareness and being able to stay on top of things. You know, if you feel like you're slipping up with something, to investigate it, like, and be able to,
like, see, whenever you have, like, me and Tommy does our lovely camera work and gives me my beautiful studio. We were talking about this before you came on. I was saying that I had a very, I think it was a week or two, a bad 2 weeks, we'll say, where I felt like I was caught up in a shitstorm where the shit was growing. You know, like a tumbleweed. I felt like I was in a tumbleweed, but it was shit. And if one thing, sorry, it's awful. Was traumatizing as hell. But it was like one thing that was happening led into another thing, and I just felt like there was like no way out of us. Like, so much so, like, I just felt like I lost, like, I think my self-worth. I doubted everything. I doubted who I was as a person, what I was doing for a living, doubted my parenting, doubted which county I was freaking living on, even. Everything. And then I was just sitting thinking, well, I got through it eventually, but I had to take my hit. What I did was, a lot of people realise this when they watch it, I did a detox social media. I didn't go on
Very
it.
good.
I put my phone, the iPhone has a focus mode, where only you can set up one, so only my family and close friends could get in contact with me. Everything else went silent and in the background, and nobody could get to me. And I took Caitlin for like a little staycation in between football and just shut off the world because I needed to think. And then once I got around to that, I was like, I did realise, like, I was so lucky, so privileged to be able to do them things. And sometimes people can't get out of their head, and sometimes they have other addictions. So I'm assuming sometimes when you have a bad day, your bad day is 50 times worse than mine, because you're probably tempted maybe to go. Do you be tempted maybe to fix things by or to
gambling was a big issue for me. I had a severe gambling addiction for like 8 years, and I went to rehab for it. And but for me, I was just thinking, I'm just going in here for gambling.
Yeah,
it's just a gambling. But the day before that, I was up in the flat and polished off a quarter of cocaine. Like, do you know what I mean?
But
and once I was telling,
thing was what you thought.
I was just going in for the gambling because the gambling did have my life destroyed. But once I was in there and I was telling this story, people are telling me, you're not fucking wise. They're like, don't be telling that to the counsellors, like, because you're cross addicted. But obviously, if you're going to rehab, you need to be in there to be honest, because if you're not, you're only bullshitting yourself, like, you know. So
Can I ask something? Because I'm not aware. When you say cross addictive, is that class as an even worse thing than just being addicted to what? Like, do they
so
look
cross
down on you?
addicted. So like you've got multiple kind of addictions. So like you've gambling, you've drink, you've drugs. So that's what they determined with me, and they're right. Like, because drugs has always been like a problem for me, you know, since an early age. But the gambling was really bad. I didn't have the fucking money for drugs. Like whenever I was gambling.
No,
That
obviously.
was
But did
the
it
problem.
help? Like, not saying that it helped.
Did it help? Oh, aye. Great.
Did it help that, like, in
But
a
you see,
way?
then you're going, you're getting tick for drugs, right?
Right.
And you're maybe selling. You're thinking you're going to sell it in order, you know,
to make money.
yeah, to make
gamble.
money. But you see, the thing is, you're getting the drugs, you're taking it all yourself, and then you've got no money then to pay for the drugs. Like, do you know what I mean? Or you might get the money for the drugs, but then you end up gambling the money. You know, it's just a never-ending vicious cycle.
I have a question here. Like most like dealer, like I've been around, like done like kind of journalistic work around kind of like dealers, should we say? But a lot of them dealers, when they take it themselves, like they're not making. Like
Nah,
when you're
never
dealing
get
and
high in your
making-
own supply,
Yeah.
as they say.
Was that where you felt like it was?
Well, I was never a dealer. I was just a fucking muppet, like, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
Krusty Gilligan.
Krusty Gilligan. It's not. Is it Krusty Gilligan? No, what's his name?
Remember Veronica Gearin?
Gilligan.
I
No,
love
it's
that
not. It's
film.
not Krusty though. What the fuck's his name?
John.
John Gilligan. Krusty Gilligan. Who the fuck?
I know.
It's his nephew, is it?
Krusty Gilligan.
John Gilligan. Aye, good show.
A guard, actually. Like a
But what was the
retired
original? What was the original question you asked me there before I went off? And
Oh,
fucking,
I think what I was trying to ask was when you were doing cross thanks for bringing it back there, because I go off on a tangent. Cross addictions. And I was wondering when you said that they told you not to say anything about being cross.
but that was the other people in there. Like, that was, you know, the other people that are in there for treatment as well. So they couldn't believe it. They're like, "What? You're up there the day before and you're on here now?" Like, because I got no sleep or none because I was so nervous and anxious. Like, you know, I was just looking, just watching the clock the whole time, and I was like, "Geez, I'm away here now at 8 o'clock in the morning." Like, and had no sleep. Got on there, still fucking off your head. Like, do you know what I mean? But it was the best thing that happened to me. It really was the best thing that happened to me, because you're sitting around with other people, you're all sharing your story, and it really, like, it builds confidence as well to be able to speak about things. Like, do you know what I mean?
Because you're in an
It
open
really,
environment, no judgment.
it brings it out of you. Like, and I really kind of grew in confidence in there, and it's like, I'm actually loving this. Like, I was looking forward to the groups and, you know, the different things. So it gave me a good foundation. Do you know what I mean? Although I didn't relapse.
How long did you have to do that for? Like, how long?
30 days, so
30 days.
4 weeks. So that's 5 years ago, 2018 now, summer 2018 I went in there. So it was great, like, it did give me that foundation. But obviously, like, the hard work really starts whenever you come out. Because you need to put everything into practice. You need to have a good routine if you're trying to get away from something negative.
Yeah.
You need to have something positive, and that's what they try to instill in you. And there, you know,
So
you're
did
up
you
early.
set up a routine for yourself then?
I didn't really set up a routine now, but I just tried to live a bit better, like get up earlier and kind of fill my time, because every day in there was structured. You get up early, you have your breakfast, you're into meditation, you know, you have different activities, you have groups, all that sort of thing. Like, the groups are really tough because they ask you some tough questions.
Like, do they delve like kind of like deep into?
They do. So they go back to your childhood. So they're trying to really pinpoint maybe why you turn to addiction. And for me, it was a big one, because I didn't understand why did I turn to addiction, because some people's stories were so black and white. Maybe they were abused as a child or
You could
whatever.
tell, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
you can say,
figure out.
well, obviously that's why they're numbing their pain. But for me, like, I had a relatively normal childhood, but then talking about certain things, you know, it brings up things, and you're like, right, and, you know, your counsellor's there to guide you and bring these things out of you, and you're like, right, maybe that had a part to play, you know. But ADHD is a thing with me too, and ADHD is a big contributor to addiction, because you've low dopamine levels. You're just looking for.
Do you think that's maybe
Stimulation.
where it started whenever you were like 15, 16? Remember that feeling you said, that anxious feeling that you got when you were 15 but didn't know what it was? Do you think that was part of your
Well,
ADHD?
the anxiety really started happening, I would say, around 17 or 18. You see, and if you're taking heavy drugs from a young age, like 15 or 16, obviously, like, your brain isn't fully formed.
No.
Your adult brain isn't formed until 21, they reckon. So the chemicals in your brain, you're messing with them. So that could have had an effect as well. But ADHD is, like, my younger brother's ADHD, like, so it is kind of in the family. So, you know, there's any number of contributors, I would say, to be honest. Like, you couldn't just put it down to one particular thing.
Did you find it hard though whenever, like, I did counselling, like, for a while, like, back, I'd say, whenever me and Caitlin's daddy was split up, I went to counsel about, because I just was not in a dark place, but I didn't. You blame yourself for a lot, and like I felt like, because I would openly say, like a lot of people know, I felt like sometimes when you're that, like I felt like I was very young, like having Caitlin, and I was still like, whenever I was pregnant, like before I knew I was pregnant, I was for like thinking I was going to go to Ibiza, to be like, you know, like one of them.
Whilst you were pregnant?
No, not when I was pregnant. Before I was pregnant,
Oh,
like that's
right,
what I wanted to do.
right,
Like, go to Ibiza.
Jesus Christ.
Good God
Fucking
Almighty,
hell.
no. But that's what where I envisaged my life going wasn't the way that it went. But like you remember me from years ago, like I like
Lisa always said you'd put that mouth to use.
and I did. I did. How do you?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you remember actually? This is going off topic, but we'll talk about it on the way. You and me used to have these late night conversations, right? And this is where I've always said that you've been so intelligent, and that's why you are where you are now, is because you're always so capable and driven. And I think, yeah, you might have taken this, that, and the other, but I do believe, and we talked about before we started recording this, that your inner self will always be in there. It's just sometimes you cloud it with alcohol, woman, pills, substances, whatever it is. But if you dig down deep enough, that I do believe that you'll get yourself back. It's just by putting on the work, and you've clearly put on so much groundwork to get yourself back, because you're completely different to what I grew up with. Like now, like I know you say that you can have sometimes like little like temptations, so to speak, of wanting to go back, but like your head.
Well, there
is
has
screwed on.
There has, now don't get me wrong, like I'm not going to come on here and say I haven't touched drugs now in X amount of time, even though I would love to be able to say that, but there has been a few slip ups since, like, I went sober 2 years ago. I went off to drink for 7 months because I had a bad accident. Like, I'm lucky to be here, to be honest. But after that, I said something needs to change because you're not going to be around, like, you know, and is that what you really wanted? It wasn't. So got off the drink, and just going back to what you were saying about social media, I got off social media as well because it can be so toxic, like.
But you ever
so
notice,
toxic.
like on social media, and I was talking to a girl today, because she was asking, she goes, you haven't posted in ages, and I was like, people realise when I'm doing this, I don't like posting fake shit. See, if things aren't going well in my life, I'd rather not keep it to myself, but I'd rather not post and act like everything's perfect, or go on and be like, right, this and this happened. Because I would appreciate somebody telling me this going on in their life, as opposed to posting something and acting like everything's okay. And me, an outsider, maybe having a bad day, thinking, oh, that girl has her shit together and is doing this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? Whenever you're looking at all these Instagram feeds.
But there's a lot of that on social media, like 80% of social media is fake, like.
But the amount of people I've unfollowed for doing that.
Portray this lifestyle and everything's good, and
But
really
you ever
they're falling
notice,
apart.
right, there's people, for instance,
We're all a bit guilty of it though. Like I think everybody's a bit guilty of it to a certain extent. You know, you're trying
like
to portray.
Valentine's Day, for instance. You had a video of, I remember, about Valentine's, not fucking here.
Ah, Jesus! Where did I have that? Was that on TikTok?
Could have been a TikTok.
Everybody. Oh, Jesus!
Love
Happy
you,
Valentine's
baby,
Day.
so much.
Love you.
And
No,
then
go
they
on.
were
There'll be.
cheating on each other.
Aye, but they'll go
clothes.
on. Like there'll be no sex, and if there is 2 pumps and a squirt. Like, you know, it's over. And
Cut that.
you can't wait.
that.
You can't wait then until the next day. Like, it's all over. Like, you know what I mean? So, but it is. A lot of it is fake. Like.
So do you think going off social media helped you a little bit? Like
I did, no, 100% it did, because I was, at the time, something that happened, you know, and I wasn't dealing with it really well, so I was kind of using social media as a bit of a distraction, you know, putting up this mad stuff and then getting reactions and, you know, people laughing and, oh, this is great, so it's distracting you, you know. So I knew that's what I was doing, so I got off social media and I just started focusing on myself, got into running, loved the running. It's brilliant, you know, just give me that natural high.
You're changed a lot, like from like you've been at the gym and like
I've been flat out in the gym. The gym is unbelievable.
Do you think that's helping with your schedule and like your routine, like when you know?
Oh, it
that
does.
I do
100% it does. I look forward to it every day. The only thing I regret about it is not getting into it sooner, because for years I had been talking about getting into the gym, getting into the gym. You see, at times, like, I'm a great talker, maybe, you know, I'm going to do this, going to do that, but I don't do anything, you know. But
we're all guilty of that. We're all saying we'll do it on Monday. We'll start Monday and then you don't.
But I've been on now since February or March, and I love it. Love it. It's great.
But do you ever think that sometimes like things like that can become like an addiction? Like I would
That's
go,
what it has. That's what it has done now.
Yeah.
It's become an addiction because I knew that once I got in there and I got comfortable and I got into a routine, I would be grand. I would really love it because what was kind of stopping me from getting into the gym was I had a notion I don't have a clue what I'm going to be doing in there. You know, you're walking in, you see all these boys and they're all, you know, and you're
Jude,
like...
if I can do the gym, you can do the gym.
But you see, the only, like I was in the gym like 12 years ago, but the only thing I was doing was the treadmill, Lisa.
Oh, aye.
You know, because I know how to work a treadmill.
Yes, because it's not
Even though
rocket
there's not
science.
much mechanics in lifting a fucking weight, like, but still,
Yeah.
I was like...
How do you do it properly?
Yeah, but even the machines and all, like how do you work the machines? But once I got in, I got one of the wee brothers to show me because they love the gym. They're mad into the gym, like, you know. So I got one of the brothers to take me in and show me around, and then I just took it from there, and then it's great. So I would really advise anybody, like, get into the gym if you're really wanting to do it, like, get into it.
That's what I was going to say. So, like, say if anybody like listening to this now and as follows you like on social media, what if they're in not a good space like where you were like back when you were like in those videos per se? What would your best advice be for them to
Well, to open up because that's something that I was never ever any good at, like, because you just feel you're going to be a burden, especially men. Men, like, I think there's this perception men are men and you're just supposed to get on with it. Don't fucking talk about that. Do you know what I
hate
mean?
that.
But that's the way society is conditioned.
But it's not right, 'cause I
It's not right.
remember
No, of course it's
years
not.
ago, do you remember I used to be the boy scared to like around you because the
You were the tomboy. Yeah.
the girls
All the
couldn't-
boys loved Lisa.
The girls couldn't listen to us half the time. I think it was what
So we couldn't listen to them either.
I know, but you used to tell me so much stuff,
Yeah.
and I used to be thinking, geez, them boys are going through so much, but you didn't tell each other what was going on. In each
No,
other's
but
lives.
you see, some of this might come out whenever you're out. You're in a house party and you're having a few drinks and you're off your head. You know, you have this love buzz and you're chatting to a fucking complete stranger and you're like,
I know.
oh, the woman has my head wrecked. But there you are and you're sniffing away at lines. Like, that's destroying you as well. But then the next day, you don't want to mention anything about it. Like,
No.
you don't want to see them ever again. If you see them walking down the street, you're going to cross the road. Do you know what I mean?
I got that from you because there's sometimes you just
But
told me
that's-
stuff and then it was like, Lisa, we're not talking about it now, it's daylight. I remember getting told.
Yeah. But that would be, advice. Open up and talk to somebody you know you can trust, because it really does help verbalizing things instead of internalizing things, because once you verbalize it and you get it out there, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders. So it really does help to talk to somebody that you know you can trust, and you know.
Like our 3
How's your-
hours in Deery, like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, 3 o'clock in the morning there, I don't know.
It did help though. You used to help me like a lot. Despite
I?
the fact
Me
that,
off me fucking head, not
do you
having a
know
clue
what?
I was
I
saying.
hate saying it, but whenever, even with alcohol, you used to give the best advice. Like the
Aye.
best advice. Because I remember thinking my life wasn't together, and you used to say to me,
What were
it's
you
going-
doing at the time? Were you doing journalism?
I was doing journalism, and you were always so shocked that I actually got to the stage of doing journalism and being at university. 'cause
Well,
you were shocked.
but
You were
but
shocked.
no, but you always you could talk, like you
I
could
talk,
talk.
but I needed
You
to
know,
do
so
bookwork.
well,
The
listen,
bookwork-
that's probably the part that I was shocked about.
But these were also shocked. But then I remember you telling me then, that's why I remember whenever you started TikTok, you told me that the best thing I could do was keep doing what I was doing. You'll probably not remember this. Keep doing what I was doing and just give everybody the shock factor, because nobody will expect you to get so far. And that's what a lot of times, sometimes when I do stuff, I'd be like, do it for the shock factor, Lisa. And then when you started your TikToks, I was like, is he doing it for the shock factor of people being like, look what he's doing now?
Well, some of it was because I just enjoyed it. Like I like coming on and just
I think you like
being-
a chat. I think
being
you
natural,
could do a
aye.
podcast, to be fair.
well, it's something that me and another fellow has been talking about, and
I
people
know,
mention it to me.
somebody that can produce them really well.
Aye.
Up Mount Top.
Yeah. So maybe further down the line it might be something. But I just like coming on and just sharing experiences and that, because I know it does help people. Certain things, certain topics, like it does help people. And I would get a lot of messages, from people in similar situations to what I was. And, they're saying this is great, like it's really helped me, so that gives you it gives you a boost as well, like it gives you that feel good factor.
Do you feel
You know?
like bad for the people? Sometimes they're messaging you, be thinking back to where you were on, like, your journey. Like, do you think back, being like, see when people are messaging saying they're going through this now? are you
No,
sad?
well, I can totally relate to it. Like, like you would have empathy for them, because you know how bad it was yourself. So, but being able Don't know what was happening there, but it's great helping people. Like it really is. Like, and then you know the funny side of it as well. People are getting a laugh. It's great. So I don't mind the negative comments. Like I don't, because as I said, some of them.
Side, how's the dating life since you started TikTok?
The dating
like
life,
there must be something. There must be like a like
people
a good
keep
thing.
asking me for more Tinder stories. Any more Tinder stories? Like there's always women. Like
Well,
there's always women,
right,
but nothing
wait a minute.
serious, Lisa.
I'm going to bring this up. I enjoyed, right, because I've known you for years. This conversation you started on TikTok about your Tinder stories, and it was unsolicited pics. And then you were like, then somebody was talking to you, and everything she said had an innuendo, or she sexualized everything. And I was like, since when do you not like this?
No, because
What
it's just too much. Like she's just putting it there. You know, everything is just like there's no intelligence. Like there's nothing between.
Conversation.
There's nothing between the ears, Lisa. Like it's
Do you
just
like a
everything is
conversation
fucking
now?
sex. Like sausages. So what does that mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's just. But she sent me that video, and at the time I was at a wake, and I knew what kind of stuff she'd be
You
saying.
didn't play it though at the week, did you?
I didn't. Oh, fuck!
sorry.
Thank Christ I didn't.
That's okay.
In a fucking wake house. But once I got out to the car and I seen it, I was like, I couldn't get it off the screen quick enough. Like it was.
So
horrible.
that's the kind of stuff that you get a lot.
I would get a lot of that.
Now you know
but
how
that's,
it is for a girl, right? Can I just put it out there? And
But
I
that's
think
what
you
I
said
said.
it.
You see, it was like the male
For a
version.
girl, normally when you're off, you're on Tinder for a girl, and then somebody says in, you say add me on Snapchat, and the first thing that you get is an unsolicited picture that they don't need. So now you know what it's like.
It's like lovely day, isn't it? No, lovely, and then it's just a picture of it. You know, it's crazy. Like,
So you didn't get anything useful out of it, am I?
no,
No,
sure, I know what
okay.
they look like, but that didn't look normal. That, fairness, like punch kebab, I think I said.
Aye, something like that. Right.
So.
Well, Jude, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
No problem, Polly.
I
It's been a
definitely
pleasure.
think I'd probably have you back for like a little football podcast or like going reading on the years type of
Reading on the years.
Maybe not my ears. Maybe your
Who does that?
years.
Your man Joe, something is it?
Aye, somebody does that kind of thing. We
Joe-
do
Joe
reading on
something.
the years in the Battlefield years.
Aye.
Probably not. People wouldn't want to see that, thank God. So that is all for this week. Join us next week now for, who do we have on next week? We have a little female guest next week. We're going to mix things up. So I will see you then.
Take off the makeup. I just wanna see who you are. A time flies so down the goodbyes. We'll spend the night staring up at the stars. See, I was told long ago, me and you was gonna go far. And if so, please let me know, 'cause you know I couldn't do you no harm.